truly excited today because I woke up to my YouTube dashboard and it showed exactly 7,000 subscribers for Guitar Discoveries. And that milestone happens to align with the series being 2 years old. So Guitar Discoveries is officially in the terrible twos. I just want to say a big thanks to all of you who follow, watch, and try out the guitars, gears, and tips I share in these videos. It really does help keep me going when you share these videos with your guitarist friends and other music lovers. Okay, so I want to celebrate today's milestones with a new series all about songwriting. Don't worry if you've never written a song. I am going to demystify songwriting and build your confidence to try it yourself. This feels timely to me because the world is just weird right now. You know, most of us expected to shelter in place for a few weeks, but it's already been months. And now we're taking to the streets over the unfair treatment of Black lives. And who knows what other weirdness is on the horizon. So this is a challenging, intense time. Sometimes, at least for me, it feels like joy and creativity are systematically getting sucked out of our lives. So I want to give you an antidote to all that, to light your creative spark and hopefully give you lasting joy no matter what else is going on in the world. And that antidote is songwriting. So this is part one of a series to challenge and inspire you to write your first original song. Or if you've written songs in the past, inspire you to keep writing more songs. So for this whole series, I'm making an assumption that you can already play a few chords on the guitar, keep a beat, and sing along with those chords.
Could you try again?
Okay, I guess Siri wanted to get me going on that. Those are the only prerequisites to becoming a songwriter. And if you're thinking, I can't possibly write a song, you are not alone, but I'm here to say you can. I actually wrote my first song when I was just 10 years old, and I only knew a few chords. Here's what happened. A boy I knew from school was killed in a car accident. And that event compelled me to write a song called He Is Gone. It had 3 chords, G, E minor, and C. It wasn't very good, but it was a complete song. And it helped me process an intense life event. And you know, guess what? I've been able to call myself a songwriter ever since, and there's a lot of value in that. So now it's time for you to do it, and it'll probably be a lot easier than you think. Besides basic guitar skills, I kind of realized recently that there are only 2 traits you need to write a song. So we're going to find out what they are by consulting with the Glimmer Twins, Mick Jagger and Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones. Stick around. So Mick and Keith have one of the most successful songwriting partnerships in history, but most fans don't know that the Stones were originally just a cover band and that Mick and Keith weren't songwriters. I want to share a couple stories about how and why they started writing their own songs. This is going to shed light on those 2 traits that you need to start writing. Number 1 is the inspiration and belief that you can write a song. In a 1980 interview, John Lennon recalled how the Lennon-McCartney song I Wanna Be Your Man got written back in 1963, and how it inspired Mick and Keith to start writing. So John and Paul had this unfinished song they thought might work for the Stones. So they played it for them, kind of roughly, and the Stones said, yeah, that's our style. So the song was unfinished, and John and Paul went off in the corner of the room and finished it while the other guys were hanging out. John described it this way: we came back, and that's how Mick and Keith got inspired to write, because, geez, look at that. They just went in the corner and wrote it and came back. You know, right in front of their eyes, we did it, so we gave it to them. I Wanna Be Your Man became the Stones' second hit in the fall of 1963. So the number 2 trait you need to write songs is the determination and persistence to finish a song. So Mick and Keith actually started writing in 1964, and one version of the story is that the Stones' producer, Andrew Oldham, told him to stay in the kitchen for a night and don't come out without a song. So as Keith recalls it, we sat around and came up with As Tears Go By. It was unlike most Rolling Stones material, but that's what happens when you write songs. You immediately fly to some other realm. The weird thing is that Andrew found Marianne Faithfull at the same time, bunged it to her, and it was an effing hit for her. We were songwriters already, but it took the rest of that year to dare to write anything for the Stones. Well, fast forward a year to 1965, and the Stones are on a tear with Mick and Keith originals. Their first self-written hit was The Last Time, and it climbed all the way to #1 in the UK, and the rest is songwriting history. So to review, all it takes for you to be a songwriter is the belief you can do it and the persistence to finish one song. Songwriting is always a balance between familiarity and originality. And when you start looking closely, you realize most hit songs are simple. They use the same familiar chord progressions, usually just 3 or 4 chords. So let's take a look at that first Jagger and Richards hit, The Last Time. Here's how it goes. It starts with a simple 2-bar riff. And that just goes on top of a simple 3-chord progression, E, D, and A. I told you once and I told you twice. Sound familiar? I mean, hell yes, because even if you don't know this song, you've heard variations of that progression in hundreds of songs, right? I mean, Buddy Holly, Not Fade Away. I'm gonna tell you how it's gonna be. You're gonna give your love to me. You Wrecked Me by Tom Petty. You wreck me, baby. You break me in two. But you move me, honey. Yes, you do. Desire from U2. Love, I'm on the street. Gonna go where the bright lights in the big city meet. Lola from the Kinks. Met her in the club down in Old Soho, where you drink champagne and it tastes just like Coca-Cola. C-O-L-A Cola. Oh yeah, what about Bittersweet Symphony from the Verve? Okay, this was written by lead singer Richard Ashcroft. 'Cause it's a bittersweet symphony that's life. Trying to make ends meet, you're a slave to money, then you die. So in case you haven't heard the story, when the Verve recorded Bittersweet Symphony, they used this short sample from Andrew Oldham's orchestral version of The Last Time. But the riff is actually different than the Stones riff. So here's Mick and Keith's riff. And then here is the Oldham riff. Those are different riffs, right? So the Verve got permission to use the Oldham sample, but they used a slightly longer piece than expected, and that prompted Mick and Keith's greedy jerk of a lawyer, Alan Klein, to sue Richard Ashcroft for plagiarism, and unbelievably, Klein won. So Mick and Keith's names got added to the songwriting credits, and get this, for over 20 years, Klein got all the royalties from the song. For me, it's one of the great injustices of modern music. But I am happy to say that last year, Jagger and Richards finally signed their publishing rights back to Richard Ashcroft. That's the danger of these plagiarism suits that get decided by non-musical juries and judges. I mean, that case should have been thrown out before it was even heard. Okay, anyway, back to you and writing your own song. We could have picked hundreds of other songs with the same 3 or 4 chords, mostly E, A, and D, right? I mean, most classic rock tunes fit that description. They're either E, A, D, or some variation of those. You know, you got things like Cream, Sunshine of Your Love, Whole Lot of Love. Pretty much every song by ZZ Top, Allman Brothers, Stevie Ray Vaughan, John Mellencamp. The list is literally endless. You know, like it just keeps going and going. Okay, so that leads us to today's songwriting challenge for you. Knowing there are hundreds, if not thousands of hits written with simple E, A, and D chords, what can you do with those same 3 chords right now? E, A, and D in any order, any rhythm, any tempo. And if you want, I'd give you permission to toss in a G chord or a B chord too. That's what T-Rex did with Bang a Gong. Gonna bang, I love you. You're dirty and sweet, oh yeah. Get it on, bang a gong, get it on. It's also what the Stones did in Satisfaction, because on the pre-chorus they added a B chord. 'Cause I tried, and I tried, and I tried, and I tried. I can't get no G. I can't get no G. There you go. So just experiment with E, A, and D. Add a G or a B if you need to. You know, try them slow, try them fast, something in between. You could try holding one chord longer, a few beats longer, and then other ones shorter. Just mess around, and then once you find an order and a rhythm you like, see if you can develop some type of a little riff that sounds good with the chord progression. You know, just noodle around until something grabs your ear. So the process I just described is basically what Mick and Keith have done over and over for more than 50 years to write hit after hit. And I really do hope you'll try it yourself and just see what happens, because at a minimum you're going to have fun, and you know, who knows, you might come up with something that sounds like your own hit. Whatever you write, I hope you'll consider being brave and sharing it in the comments, because you can link to an audio file or a video file. Doesn't matter if it's a snippet or if it's a full song. I would just love you to share. And there's no judgment allowed here, you know, only encouragement. I want to hear about the joy you get from getting in touch with your own creative spark and writing something original for you and the world. Okay, watch for part 2 of this series on writing original songs. In the meantime, please like the video, subscribe, hit the bell so you'll know when the next one comes along. I'm going to post the whole series on guitardiscoveries.com, so see you soon.